So I got a channel with like 30,000 subscribers and I've got quite a lot of sponsors for a channel of this size. A lot of people come up to me and say, Grant, how are you getting sponsored? So I've decided instead of answering everybody individually, I'm gonna make this video that's gonna help you get sponsored on your channel, and just a couple of things that I've learned over the last like 10 years of this industry, because I'm old, I'm a grandpa. Speaking of getting sponsored, this video is brought to you by Borderlands 3. To celebrate the launch of the upcoming anticipated third release in the Borderlands series, we're unboxing the Borderlands 3 Collector's Edition on this channel, and then we're giving it away. You can start entering right now. Just make sure that you check the pinned comment. All the links in the description. Vault hunting begins on the 13th of September. Mayhem is coming. Alright, so the first thing that you need to do is build a strong proposal. You have no idea how many people come up to me and they go, I have so many subscribers, why isn't anybody sponsoring me? Have you spoken to anybody? Have you tried your best to get hold of certain sponsors? Have you put together a document that allows people and has a really good strong argument as to why people should sponsor you? You might think it's 100% obvious why people should be getting behind your channel financially, but for a lot of sponsors out there, that's not obvious. One of the most important things that are overlooked by entertainers, influencers, esports teams is that a brand, when approaching you, is looking for an ROI. That means a return on investment. They are spending money on your channel. What are they getting out of it? And just having eyeballs on their product is not enough. Just because you might have like 50,000 subscribers does not mean that that person wants to sponsor your channel. And you can't get offended if they say no. If your proposal is not strong enough or doesn't meet any of their criteria, they are not going to get the return on investment that they need. It's on you to build a proposal, a strong document or a video or any form of presentation that you can take to a client that can guarantee them what you are offering. If it doesn't meet their requirements, then they are entitled to say no. Your job is to partner with brands that want to partner with you and that want to get the ROI that you're delivering. You're a service provider. They are looking for a service and they are investing in a service. So you need to make sure that your service is up to scratch. When building a proposal, make sure that it's realistic, that what you are offering on the table is something that is fair. If you have the privilege of going back to past brand deals that you've done or past sponsors, make sure that you include them in the proposal. If you want to get testimonials from them as well, I often do. I've had brands and sponsors on this channel for long periods of time, and a big part of that is making sure that you are credible in the industry, and their testimony, their experience of working with you, and your transparency is something that will help you get another brand deal. Remember, you don't have to have a big audience in order to get sponsored. Your proposal just needs to be realistic when it comes to what you are actually handing a client. It's got to be appropriate for your audience size and your offering. The next point is to offer examples of previous work. I always say that if you've got any previous work or achievements or stuff that you've done, add that into your proposal. And there's a large reason why you'd want to do that, and I'll get into that a little bit later. It's quite an important point. It's about value adds, by the way. Teaser. But if they've never worked with you, they are not necessarily sure of the kind of quality of work that you're going to produce. Making sure that you're presenting a portfolio of the quality of work that you can offer them, even if you have a small size audience, means that they're buying quality product. When I started making YouTube channels, I wasn't just slapping up videos when I approached sponsors. I was when I started YouTube. It was a mess. Let's not get into it. But when I started approaching sponsors, I made sure that the polish of my final product of my video was as good as possible. And the higher your polish, that's what they're buying. That's what they're presenting to their shareholders, their board members, their counterparts overseas. They need to make sure that they are reporting on some great quality work. And if your stuff doesn't look good, it sets a bad example for anything that you're going to be making for them going forward. So let's get back into the point that I was teasing a little bit earlier. Add other achievements, add other things that you can do, because you can increase your sponsorship deal by having value offerings. If you've only got like 1,000 followers on Twitch or 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, if you can do other work for that brand, they might want to include it in your relationship with them. So for instance, I will often offer my hosting services. I'm an MC, I do a lot of stage work, I have a television background. So some of my television experience is kind of bundled into what I'm offering a client. Or for instance, I'm a videographer, so I might film an event and then release that footage to them, that raw footage, at a very reduced rate, but on condition that they're working with me as a sponsor, which I think is fair because they're getting way more than they're paying for, which is great. And it means that your channel has the potential to flourish. With gaming channels, it's pretty cool to have sponsors on them because you get that stamp of approval. When you guys see AMD or SteelSeries or MSI on my channel, it's like, wow, Grant is really supported by big brands, right? Those big brands have people here and offices here. So when you buy and support local products that are being distributed in the country, you're literally paying the salaries of lots of people that are actively making sure that those products are readily available for us. So it's important that we get involved with that. But it means as well, as a content creator, that you have the capacity to meet up with those people and get in contact with them. The next step is getting in contact with sponsors. There are a couple of ways you can do this. Make sure you use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great tool for like finding and searching those people. Just because you can't get in touch with a really big sponsor doesn't mean that you don't have any other smaller sponsors that you can get hold of. There might be a video store, bad example, but there might be a video store in your town, or a comic book store that is doing a launch of a product and they want you to be involved. A large percentage of your followers might be in your town. In my case, I have an 85% South African following. So South Africans get me to go to Rage or Comic-Con or whatever to do work for them because my audience is based here. Your audience might be in your town, in PE, in Durban, in Bloemfontein, in Joburg, and they might need somebody to do some work for them, but they don't have huge amounts of money. They might have $1,000 that they can spend to get you to host the day. And then that you can bundle into a vlog. Maybe they can pay $1,500 and you can host it and then do a video for your channel. You know, there's a lot of different ways to get sponsors, but you've got to think creatively, laterally, and a way that is fair according to the brand that you're working with. The more creative you are in approaching brands and the kinds of brands that you approach, the more money there is potentially to be made. If there's a craft brewery that's around the corner, or a vape company, I know some local people that got sponsored by vape companies. You have the potential to elevate their brand using your content, and they get something out of it that they wouldn't have necessarily got with a bigger influencer. The next tip is don't be afraid of no's. For every 10 proposals I have put out, about 9 get rejected. I might make 1 brand deal out of those 9 proposals. Building proposals is a full-time gig. You need to make sure that people are part of your channel and be full part of your channel all the time. Sponsors keep this ship afloat. What you see on this channel is being put together by the sponsors that support this space. Without them, I could not be able to do this full time. So for me to look after them is a full-time job. When you get a no, use that no to learn for your next proposal. Remember, they're saying no for a reason, and they're entitled to say no. So there might be something that doesn't meet their return on investment. Remember, back to that ROI, that you have not contributed in your proposal. And that's okay, because it's a learning process. It means going back to the drawing board, amending your proposal, approaching the same sponsor or a new sponsor with a brand new approach, which is great. It's great because you're improving. You make sure that you're getting better at selling your channel and what your offerings are. And also it means that your offerings are becoming fairer to the client. They want to make sure that they are getting the best value for money when it comes to dealing with you. And you want to make sure that you're getting the most fair amount of money out of the arrangement. You don't want to rip off a client because they're never going to come back to you. If you rip off any other sponsor, they might never work with influencers ever again because you've done a bad job at that. Make sure that what you're pitching is fair and sustainable. Sustainable is a big part of it. Use the no's as fuel. For every no you get, you're getting closer to the next brand deal that might be signing up. And also you're getting real feedback as to what's wrong with your proposal and what you can improve on. And lastly, this is probably the most important thing that I can suggest. It's something that a lot of people completely miss. Develop reports. A lot of people don't develop any form of reports. If you're an esports team, if you're an individual influencer, if you've got a YouTube channel, a Twitch channel, you need to develop some form of communication with the people that are sponsoring your channel. They're literally giving you money and they need to know what they're getting out of it. And part of that is producing a report after you finished your brand deal. I cannot stress that enough. They need to know that what they've done with you was worth their money, that when they report to their seniors, because everybody's got a report. As an influencer, you're at the bottom of the pile. You've got to make sure your report sets the precedent for their report, which goes up the chain. And you want to make sure that you have the best information that you can. So what you need to do is be as thorough, as honest, and as transparent as you can, because that way, even if you didn't meet the kind of targets you wanted to meet, you can always learn to improve with that brand. A lot of brands appreciate honesty and vulnerability over lying about stats. Please never lie about your analytics. If you lie about your analytics, it's again sets a huge negative precedent for other influencers and an unrealistic expectation from other future brands when working with other influencers. And then when they challenge you on it and can test it, there are tools they can test it. Everything that we do here is testable with third-party tools. They can find you out and you can get into serious trouble. In fact, it's illegal to do that. We are a serious advertising entity, so you need to make sure that you are ethical and above board when approaching sponsors. These reporting tools that you can, it can be a document, again, it can be a video. I recommend it being a very simple document, lining out the reports that they specify. Often people are trying to work with you because they're meeting an objective. You help them achieve something. So if it's literally just hosting an event, or if it's driving ticket sales or entries to a giveaway or people to see a web page, if you can drive any form of statistical information as to what they paid for it, then you can obviously improve on that, but it also shows how transparent you are. And most importantly, shows if working with you was the right person to do the job. And it might be. You might find that you're really good at one particular aspect of working with sponsors, and then make sure that that is one of the huge drivers on objective for your clients for the return on investment. So people have to approach you for that one thing. If it's community building, if it's giveaways, if it's attendance to a live stream, maybe you've got a really big live stream audience, make sure that you've got those analytics ready at hand. And always deliver more than you have. So for instance, if you think that the Twitch analytics for individual live streams is not important, just add it anyway. Who knows? And also the sponsor might look at that and go like, hey, wait, that's an avenue that we are not looking at properly, that we could really be utilizing your channel for. If you've got very thorough analytics about what you're producing, it really makes a huge difference. All right, that wraps it up. I hope you guys learned something out of this. I hope it contributed. If you think I've left anything out, if you guys are a channel that exists already that has sponsors and wants to contribute any information, please let me know in a comment below. If you've got any questions, I'm going to try answer as many of those questions as possible. Please do not ask me to give you contact details to any of my sponsors. Please, that's just not right. It's not fair on my sponsors to be inundated with a bunch of proposals. Make sure you find those sponsors yourself through LinkedIn and other means, and also find smaller sponsors that are applicable to your channels if you are a smaller size. I also love to hear what you guys think of these points. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget about that giveaway that we are running for Borderlands. That will be the pinned comment at the top of this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers!